A lot of us fantasize what will happen after we leave our job, all the freedom we will have, all the money, all this good stuff. And after working full time for over 4 years and 8 months, so nearing my 5-year anniversary since I quit my job, I learned quite a few lessons, but I summed up top 3 lessons that might surprise you about working full time online. So if you are close to leaving your job, if you want to leave your job, or maybe you left your job but you're kind of like in those beginning stages, I want to share with you 3 lessons that I've learned and that I'm honestly relearning over and over again so that you can navigate the waters a bit better. Now, for those of you that don't know, my name is Miodrag and I used to work in a factory for 300 bucks a month on an assembly line here in Serbia. And then in just 3 years, I managed to make over $300,000 online using just Facebook with really small following. So again, I want to share a few tips. Let's start with lesson number 1. Business is like season. A lot of people just expect this linear growth, like you will make your first 1K online, then 2, then 5, then 10, then 20, and just go up. But the reality is, and this really was a face slap for me, that it's not, right? Like I had low months followed by big months followed by low months again. So it's not like this, and it's not like in the job area where it's mostly like linear, you have the same paycheck every 1st or 15th or whenever you're getting paid, and maybe in a year or 6 months or 2 years you get a little upgrade and it goes like that, right? With a business, it's usually like you go into debt, it sucks, and then all of a sudden you have a dip, you have a realization, usually big growth, then followed by more like this. It's like in waves, and this is really hard to notice when you are deep into the woods, like you can't see the forest for the trees, right? You are in the weeds and you question everything that you know, and you don't realize that there are many factors influencing the amount of money that you make that month and that week. And what's ironic is the shorter the cycle that you count the money that you're making in, the worse you feel about it. So if you see every day how much you made, there are days and even weeks and maybe even months where you won't make money, right? And if you count it on the daily, it's gonna look scary. But then let's say you zoom out a bit and you look on monthly basis and you're like, okay, it's not that bad. And then you look quarterly basis and it's like, okay, I actually made a bit more than the last quarter. It's just that most of the sales were made in 1 week rather than every day the same sale. So you look quarter 1, let's say you made 10K that quarter, but it was more even. Every few days you made a sale, and then in second quarter for 2 months you didn't make sales, and then in the last month, in a couple of weeks, you made 15K. And then you compare, your second quarter was better, but because you were looking at it daily, it seems like it's not. So what I learned, like the more I'm in game, like now again almost 5 years full time, I've noticed that there are periods where I make much less money, and then there are periods where I make much more money. And I remember like first year in my business, full time, I would have like 2, 3K months, right? And this was enough for me in Serbia. But then I hit like really big, I think 12K revenue month, which were about $6,000 in pure profit, which was huge for me. And I was expecting next month to be 10K profit. And next month I made 3 times less money, and this was a big gut punch for me, and like realization that, oh, it's like it's not just linear growth. And to come back to the analogy of seasons, we have like winter when it's really bad, sales slow down, maybe people go on vacation, so summers tend to be a bit slower for a lot of us entrepreneurs. And then you have Black Friday when more people buy and come alive, right? And you can view gyms this way as well. And I noticed I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and during summer we barely have a few people there, but then on September you have this surge and like we're barely fitting in the gym. So this happens throughout the industries, and it's normal to have the ups, the downs, the big months, the slow months. And what's really important, I would say, is first to not judge yourself if you're like, oh, I'm having a bad month. And this is coming from experience because I tied my ego, if you will, and my sense of self-worth a lot to my business and amount of money that I make. So when I would have slower month, it would not just be like bad for the business, called bad, but also for myself, because I'm like, oh, did I forgot how to make money? Why does this not work, right? And another, this is like a bonus lesson that I want to share, because I wanted to share 3 lessons, but 2 more came to mind, is that a lot of results we have today didn't come from what you did today or yesterday or even this week. They usually come from the months of work that you did before. So even if you had big month, it was because you did good things for the previous month. So it's really important to like make that distinction, but I'll continue more about it in the next video. Now, again, coming back to seasons, instead of saying, oh, this doesn't work or I'm bad, you realize, okay, I'm in winter. It's more difficult to make money, and you can still make money in the winter. You can still do your best, and you can prepare for the spring and for the summer and for the fall. So instead of just judging yourself, judging your business, being in panic and changing everything, which I've done. By the way, every week I'm releasing new videos about how to get clients, how to make more money, how to monetize slow following. So if you're interested in these topics, consider subscribing. And if you enjoyed this video, consider liking it. Honestly, I hope this first lesson will, if this is the only thing you take away out of this video, like I've done that, like business slows down and I freak out and I go and launch a new offer, or I do this or I do that. And at a time I make money, but long term it slows me down. Instead of focusing on making this offer, like the main core offer, let's say, that you sell, better, I tried all sorts of different things just to not feel bad because I made less money this month or whatever. Now, lesson number 2, this is not honestly just about business. You can obviously apply it to life, but it's really important to focus on what you can control. So if you haven't noticed, I don't know how long are you online, but I wasn't online in 2015, but I think even then, so 2015 to 2020 to 2021, and then I guess end of 2022, it started slowing down. We had this like bull market. It was flourishing, and especially online industry and everything, like the entire world, plus even more so the online industry were like just booming, right? And then all of a sudden, everything slowed down. Uh, course sales dropped. I think info products are more difficult to sell. All these things, all these companies make less money. And these are the outside forces that we cannot control, the inflation, the recession, all of the things. And it's really easy to go too much down one side or the other. So I see people who are only blaming outside circumstances, where they're like, it's recession, it's economy, nothing I can do about it. And it's true. But you can still, there are still factors that you can control. There are still people making money in this economy, right? There are still people growing. So there are things you can do. However, you want to be careful not to fall down the second extreme, which is like everything is my fault. And you start blaming yourself for the, again, things you cannot control. Like maybe people are buying less and money is worth less and it is more difficult to sell. So it's not something in your control. So I try to navigate between these two extremes. Like on the one hand, I want to realize the macro effects that are happening in the industry, in the business, online, everything. But at the same time, I want to have agency and I want to focus on the things I can control. Can I make the offer better? Can I make it more clearer? Can I post more? Can I advertise more? Can I make more offers? Can I send more emails? Can I do better follow up? Like all of these other things are within my control. So instead of just feeling like a victim, I can't control anything, or taking too much blame to yourself, I try to find the middle road, focus on what I can control while acknowledging that there are things that I cannot control and try to improve. And this is another lesson that took me a while to learn, and I think I'm finally getting a bit better at it. Now, for the third lesson, there are always trade-offs. Yes, I bought into the dream of freedom and working online and working from home, all this stuff. And honestly, it is great, right? Like, I'm really big on freedom. I hated my job with my guts. I just wanted to quit. And I did my best to leave it, right? I dreamt of being able to work from home, wake up when I want, work for as long as I want, not having someone not just nagging me, but telling me nonsense that I probably don't agree on the most. And these were great stuff, but there are always trade-offs, right? I don't have 10 employees, so if I get sick, there is no one to replace me. There will be less money. I need to get back. Or my father had a stroke last year, and it was chaos for me and my family. And a lot of us, I had to take time off. I worked less. I was more under stress. And no one asks you, right? I don't have a free time, or I can take it, but again, it means that I'll make less money. If I don't feel like working, I don't need to, but again, I'll make less money. no one forces me to wake up early. You can wake up and start working when you want. And I still wake up usually before 7 a.m. So it's, yeah, but you still want to do some things. And while it's great not to have someone telling you what to do, ironically, sometimes I miss it. Sometimes, should I do this or this? Like, how do I prioritize? And I have ADHD, so it makes it a bit more difficult for me to handle complex tasks. And it's, well, do I work on my offer? Do I advertise? Do I do this or that? Right? There are these jokes like, oh, I quit working 9 to 5 and now I'm working like 16 hours a day. There is some truth in that. Sometimes you'll have to work more. And you need to set boundaries. You need to develop a lot of skills, and it will be very difficult. You will have months in even quarters where you won't make money, right? And then it's like on the job, you know, okay, on the 1st or 10th or 15th, whatever, I will make money because that's when they pay me. With business, it's not guaranteed. And you will have trolls that will make things up and people scamming you and people stealing ideas from you. Like I still have, I don't know, ex-clients who took my ideas, selling them, and not only are they selling them and monetizing them, they're giving zero credits, right? And I had people scamming me and all these sort of things, and no one asks you. So there are a lot of trade-offs. So it's important to understand, like for some of you, honestly, this might sting, but maybe you're not suited to be an entrepreneur, and that's okay. Maybe you're better off having a job. And I think, again, a lot of people are selling you the dream because they want to sell you something about whatever, this business opportunity. I don't sell business opportunities, so I'm going to be straight with you. It is hard. It is much more hard to own a business than it is, and especially being solopreneur, meaning you do most of the stuff. I have VAs taking some tasks. Honestly, I'm not the best at delegating and things like that. Still learning that part. But I want you to understand that as much as it's great, okay, working from home, when COVID hit and they shut everything down, this became a problem. I would rather go somewhere and see people than just sit at a desk all day and work, right? That's another kind of downside, ironically, because I wanted to work from home and honestly, I still enjoy it. I think over time you do take some things for granted, but it's really important to understand that as much as there are good sides, there are bad sides. And I heard, I think Naval say this. He said, don't envy someone. You cannot envy them unless you take the whole into account. Because usually when we want someone and we envy someone, we just look at the good side. Oh yeah, they work from home, they make X amount of money, but you don't see all the downsides. So again, I learned over the years that there are a lot of downsides. PayPal froze my account with 10K without explanation. And not only did they freeze it for 6 months, they later stole that money. I never got it back. There is a lot of shit that will happen throughout your journey, and you want to accept it, own it, and work through it. But again, looking back, would I have still left my job knowing all the trouble it will be? Absolutely. That's why I say you want to make an informed choice. It will be hard. There are a lot of great things about it, but there are also a lot of downsides. Again, I just wanted to make you aware. I'm curious about you. Did any of these lessons resonate with you? Have you left your job already? And if you did, what is your top lesson that you have learned since quitting job? Let's share it with other entrepreneurs and help them out. And if you enjoyed this video, I'm sure you'll also enjoy this one.